Hello there, Internet. MegaMogwai here, and I got yet another 12-year-old react and the reaction to a champion reveal. This time, the intro's going a bit smoother. Still terrible, but whatever. At least we're not Tank Top Douche today, as we got an actual shirt, and we're going to be reacting to your boy, Ornn. Ornn is a champion that I've been expecting for some time, and not because I know anything about the character, because I actually don't. I know that he's a weaponsmith, and then, you know, he's kind of thick, and that's pretty much the gist of it, really. But you guys have been, a lot of you have been, you know, predicting that this champion was coming ever since the Fabled Poro card was released. If you guys don't know, it's the 4-mana 2/5 Poro that's like actually swinging a hammer and shit. And apparently Ornn is like in the background, or something belonging to Ornn is in the background, and a lot of people caught on that. And ever since then, people have been demanding this champion to be released for Freljord, and obviously with the equipment expansion, it was bound to happen, right? Because, you know, he makes weapons, so fits pretty well into the theme. As, yeah, that's essentially all that I know, though. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Ornn is gonna be a 5-drop. I don't know, he's pretty big. I don't really expect him to be a cheap unit, and I'm gonna go with 5. I think we've had a lot of 4-drop champions lately, and I think it's about time we get a 5-mana, maybe even 6-mana champion. That's what I'm predicting. But without further ado, just, you know, as usual with my videos, checking that I'm recording, because I'm a very professional content creator. Gonna put them headphones on, and we are gonna see what Ornn is all about. Let's switch up the scene a little bit. This time I have prepared. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Space bar enabled. Oh, he looks sick though. Wow, he's actually beefier than I thought. All right, he still kind of looks like an overgrown Poro in a way. Maybe just because he has a lot of hair. All right, let's go. Corn. Hashtag corn. Yeah, boy, corn. Tortilla chips. Commands the forge. All right, let's do this.
Ornn. No further pleasantries needed.
Oh. There's like no... Okay, so they actually explain forge, and then they reveal Ornn. At least Ornn's signature spell is 5 mana, so I'm partially right with my prediction. Because of reasons. Ornn's Bellows Breath is a slow speed 5-mana spell. Hopefully it's not like Udyr's. Forge an ally and deal 1 to all... It's actually like Udyr. Forge an ally and deal 1 to all units. Do it again. Create Ornn deck. Okay, but it does so twice. So unlike... I even forgot, honestly, what Udyr's signature spell was called, but... That is a 1 damage AoE ping, right? This is doing it twice. So you're forging twice. So you're giving a unit +2/+2, and then you're avalanching. So essentially, it's a 5-mana avalanche that forges twice on a unit for 1 more mana. Nothing too crazy, really. It actually just functions like an avalanche in that sense, but it does give Freljord even more AoE sources, which... You know, I'm not sure they need it at this point because Blighted Ravine and Avalanche kind of like patch it up together. But I guess in equipment decks, you do want to be running this instead. And we do know what Force does. Well, in case you don't know, you grant an ally +1/+1. If the ally is equipped, you grant it to the item instead. And this is a very big deal because you're granting the item +1/+1, which means that if the ally dies, as the item returns to your hand, it's going to retain those buffs. So it's actually more... Even though it doesn't seem like that, it is actually more than just a +1/+1 grant, though. It is kind of like a glorified one at that, but yeah. All right. Just rambling.
Temper the steel, strengthen the
we don't see Ornn? Ornn! We've seen these cards revealed the other day. We see some really dope Freljord cards.
Hold my beer.
Wait, what?
You're welcome.
Oh, is that his? It's a 7-drop. Oh, it's a 7. Okay, I got it wrong. He's even thicker.
An iron will must be forged.
Hopefully, I think it's not too loud. I can barely hear myself.
Hold while I smith.
I want to see what that landmark does. It probably like gives you 4.
Let's get on with it.
It doesn't show us what's 4. Wait. I need to read this guy because it did not show us. What the hell?
Hold while I smith.
Okay, oh, okay. And I didn't even get to see the, okay, it's a 4/4. Yeah, that's like the first champion reveal like ever that we don't get Ornn revealed from the get-go, unless I just like skipped it somehow. I don't even know what's happening. 7 mana Ornn with tough, a 4/4 with tough. I mean, very understated, but probably for a good reason. Play, equip me with an exact copy of an ally's equipment or the strongest equipment from hand. Attack, forge me twice, and the level requirement is an ally has struck for 10 or more damage. Okay, that's like a big swing, but keep in mind it doesn't have to be face. It can just be the unit just trading into a chump blocker, for example. Yeah, very expensive. 7 mana. I mean, the tough is very neat. It's actually more resilient than you would think, right? Even though you're expecting more stats out of this amount of mana, but you're getting an equipment upon that, so you're already like, the fact that he has how tough is actually a very big deal, because then when you equip something onto him, he's very easily gonna have really decent stats, and then you're gonna be forging him twice whenever you attack. So he's essentially giving himself +1/+1 twice. In a vacuum, it doesn't seem that crazy because it is a very late game unit, and a unit that just says, you know, give me +1, +2/+2 when I attack, and you know, having tough like that on its own feels kind of weak. But I think there's a lot of things that we're assessing with these equipments that it's just hard to do without actually trying them out, right, and see how the deck actually functions and stuff. But as of right now, it seems, you know, it's not super impressive.
Fine, I'm here. Let's get on with it.
Wait, what? Okay, I need to see the beginning again because... Oh, cause wait. That's it. If you're forging, because he's duplicating it, if you keep forging on the same unit, and then you copy that forged equipment, then all of a sudden he's huge. That's the payoff. All right.
Iron will.
I'm getting there. That's actually really neat. That's really cool.
Hold while
Yeah,
I
you're just forging every round, like you're doing because of that landmark, and then you duplicate that.
Get on with it.
You get like a really beefed up, upcycled Rake, which gives you Scout. Holy shit! And that Rake is originally like +1 only.
Nothing shall move you.
All right, level up time. Let's see that animation. Let's see that Ornn animation.
Now this is what good looks like. You wanted the god of the forge, you...
Oh, okay, I got an idea for the thumbnail. Ornn! I think I have a hammer. Yeah, I have a hammer. Ornn is obviously a 5/5, like just +1/+1. Play, equip me with an exact copy of an allies. Okay, the same as before. Attack, forge me twice, then summon an attacking Spirit of the Ram with my stats. Does that Spirit of the Ram has like, I assume it's like an ephemeral unit? I mean, we're gonna see. Is that a card that we've seen now? I can't recall.
Here comes my molten friend.
Yeah, it's ephemeral with over. Whoa! He's like, he becomes like Super Zed. It's actually just Super Zed. What is Iceborne Pillar with
Hammer. It was so good.
thralls? What?
Hammer.
In your name, I have rekindled
This is why Brian takes a while to balance things. Like, what the fuck is that deck?
the heart blood.
Let the name die, boy. It means nothing anymore. Brom is on the job.
Bro, Braum with the equipments though.
If only
Braum with the equipments.
Ice Witch.
Oh, the synergy. Yeah, that's a win.
Much celebrating for my tastes.
Okay, so he's a big boy Timmy champion. That's Ornn for you. I want to read this the landmark here. Yeah, you guys can see all the cards. Cool. 3 mana, Ornn's Forge, 3 mana landmark. When I'm summoned or round start, create a fleeting time and dedication in hand. Time and dedication is probably, yeah, it's this one that also the Wizened Smith also creates. I did see this card yesterday, which is essentially, you know, Forge an ally. So it's like Ornn's Forge is like the equipment version of Monastery of Harana, right? It's giving you a 1 mana focus speed spell that will synergize with your plan. I mean, you're sacrificing quite a bit of tempo to enable it, but then from that point onwards, every round you're able to forge an ally, and the more you forge, the better Ornn will be, because he'll essentially duplicate that, right? It's like this effect is kind of similar to Kaisa with the second skin, but you know, with equipments instead. Obviously, like it's a very, you know, it's a bit of a stretch to compare the two, right? Because they function quite differently, but that's the gist of it. It seems relatively easy to get that level up requirement with a swing from him, which is ideal because we're talking about a 7-drop here, and 7 mana plays should be working to end the game essentially at that point. So I like the design. I think it's really neat. I think it's essentially what it is a massive forge payoff. And it's going to be really, really fun to build around with these Freljord cards, because they're honestly very promising. We have the Adept Weaponsmith, which forges an ally. We have the Battle Cook. I think it's the War Cook or the Battle Cook. Essentially, it's the same guy as the War Chef, but it's a 4-drop version of it that also forges or auto-equips upon entry, I think. And it's really exciting. We're getting a lot of really cool shit. Oh, Spirit and Ram is actually a 4-drop. So in case you want to recall it or something, you still got to play 4 mana to play it. And then we have the Hearthblood Mender. You guys can see that one too. Forge an ally and heal it, and your Nexus 3 is actually deceptively good. Like it doesn't seem like it's as good because you compare it with stuff like, you know, the Stellacorn from Target and stuff. It seems similar. But the fact that you're forging and also healing can give you a very, very nice turn against aggro, while still building up your game plan and enhancing your later Ornn play. If I go away for a second, you guys can see the 1-drop here, which is the Weaponsmith Apprentice. The first time you equip an ally, you forge it. So this is like a 1-mana engine that can go a long way, actually, because you know, every time you equip, you're forging. So every time you equip something, that weapon's getting +1/+1. Like, it's a very powerful engine effect, which really explains the 1/1 stat line, right? It's easy to ping. It looks like she has like a Santa hat or something, but yeah, so does the Wizen Smith, actually. Well, I mean, it's cold there, right? So I get it. I think we're gonna take a look at Twitter, because there's a few more cards that we haven't gone over. But overall, first impressions with Ornn, he looks very fun. Like, you know, not every champion always seems fun. Like, Bard didn't seem particularly exciting for me from the get-go, to be honest. But Ornn is actually really, really dope, and seems like I said, like when I say a Timmy, you know, it's a Magic reference. Like, you know, these big, beefy late game creatures that just aim to end the game, right? And pile up a lot of stats, and potentially even combine it with Overwhelm. Like, Rico Rex may love this champion, actually. And I like the you know, the payoff with the Super Zed, right? Like spawning the Spirit of the Ram and just ramming them with Overwhelm, right? I mean, it's essentially the thing in Legend of Runeterra. Like, you work for some sort of like elusive or Overwhelm finish. That's how a lot of these mid-range decks work. So it's not anything particularly new by any means. In fact, it works just like Zed, and also like I was gonna say Kaisa Callista. So it's not super original, but I think it's fitting for the character, and I honestly like it. I think this equipment archetype is just really promising, and there's several. Like, what's exciting about this is that there's many. It seems like there's going to be multiple different versions of it, because we already have 3 champions that work with it, right? Also, honestly, pretty much every champion reveal, like Master Yi as well, like all of them function around it, so you can't really pile them up all together, especially considering 2 of them are Runeterra champions. So it feels like it's an actual just full-on equipment. I mean, it's safe to say that it's a full-on equipment expansion at this point, even though we have Nora, which functions a little bit differently. And there's just a lot of different equipment decks that you can build. Like, they're really pushing this new card type, and it's looking pretty damn hype. So I'm gonna look at Twitter and see if we can go over the other cards that we haven't mentioned just yet. With the Wizen Smith, the 1/4 stat line ain't great, but considering you're forging, like, you're getting a free card. It's not fleeting either, so you can play it whenever you want. It's pretty damn solid. Like, I think all of these units are good, but I would say the Weaponsmith's Apprentice is really can end up being very important, though it depends on the meta, because if there's a lot of pings, then it can be... But I mean, you're in Freljord, you gotta like serve iron and all sorts of shit, so you can also equip her with something, and then all of a sudden she's fine, right? So I think she's definitely gonna be very relevant. I think the Wizened Smith as well seems really decent. The Adept Weaponsmith is a bit more of a generic play that I'm not sure if it'll be as key. And Hearth Blood Mender will depend more on whether how fast the meta is and whether you can make use of that healing, even though it's a good stat line besides all that. But we've seen this sort of effect before on even better stat lines, like a Stellacorn with a 5/6, right? So it's not the craziest thing, but it's not bad either. And yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling here. We're gonna move on to ramble some more, because that's what we do on the MegaMogwai channel. We ramble about cards and things and stuff. And we'll be back at it because we're gonna be looking at Twitter and some of the other cards that were revealed. A lot of dual region ones, so we'll be right back. And we are back. My ear is ringing. And we're going to go over some of the cards here. I mean, these three we've already seen. Combat Cook is what I was talking about. Is actually a dual region card. It is both in Demacia and Freljord. A Weapon Master as well. That says when I'm summoned, I improvise and then forge me. So while the stat line may seem pretty underwhelming at first, this is a pretty solid 4-drop that is available in 2 regions, and I'm honestly, I absolutely love the art. I love the fact that War Chef got some character development. I don't know. I mean, this time he's punching. I mean, he's kicking instead of punching, and he's actually eating. So yeah, I do think that's good character development right there. And then we got the Demacian Steel. That's basically it, because everything else was revealed with the Ornn package here. But this is not the only thing that we're going to be talking about, but I wanted to cover like the Ornn package first. So Demacia Steel, 1 mana, +1/+1, makes the 1 mana slow speed spell that grants +1/+1 look absolutely horrendous, you know, even more so. So rip for that card. But good basic equipment for the Demacian region. You know, not surprised that Demacia is the one that gets the basic bitch of of equipment right there. Let's move on though to some other cards here that I have not talked about, and I'm actually really excited for, because this reveal, which happened a couple of days ago, was personally my favorite out of like the non-champion card reveals. The amount of good stuff that we got in this one is just really exciting. So first of all, we got the Bone Club, which is like Old Fury of the North Bone Edition. It actually gives +4/+4, so big boy equipment. Then we have Gift of the Hearthblood. Gift of the Hearthblood is actually one of the most exciting cards we've seen revealed so far. It is a 5 mana burst speed spell for Freljord that heals your Nexus by 4, kind of like reminds you of Star Shaping, and grants all allies and equipment in your deck +1/+1, and then you draw one of them. So it's like it kind of functions like a Catalyst of Aeons, right? You're healing even more so, and you're buffing your entire deck. You can do this at turn 3 by carrying over spell mana, and you're still able to make a 1 mana play in that. So this card is going to be really damn scary, I think, and it's going to be super fun to mess around with. It's going to enhance your entire deck really early on. It's like a non-RNG like chime, you know, that just is applied to everything. And it's just a really cool card that I think a lot of players are going to enjoy, and I'm really eager to see what decks come out of this. I'm going to be exploring it myself, and I think there's going to be several different ways to build around this, and I'm really hyped about this one specifically. I think it's pretty epic. That was awful. Then we have the Keeper of the Box, which is a 2 mana 2/2 with Fearsome. Once you've equipped an ally this game, grant me lifesteal. This card is also low-key very solid, because it's not packing the extra power, you know, to allow it to block into other Fearsomes, and naturally, you know, it's a bit weaker than other stuff like the vanilla Arachnoid Horror, for example. But once you've equipped an ally, you gain lifesteal, and you can equip this ally. You know, you can enhance this ally, and lifesteal is an incredibly powerful keyword. Like, imagine if you give this thing Scout, for example, right? And there's no fearsome blockers, then you're just getting your health back. You can combine this with motherfucking Bone Club, right? And go to a 6/6 with lifesteal and fearsome. Like, it's a very decent card. It's a good cultist to have, and I think it's a neat addition. Like, I think we're not oversaturated on lifesteals in the game, and anything that halts aggro down and makes pirate players cry is fantastic in my book. So big fan of Keeper of the Box. We got the Darkin Halberd. I think I pronounced that right. This card is really exciting. Initially, it's a 1 mana +2/+2 that says to play me, kill an ally. So slay synergy, which is already a win in my book. But then there's also flexibility added on top of it. This card is actually nuts because it's good on its own. It's giving +2/+ stats, and yeah, you have to kill an ally. But if you build this in a synergistic deck, like it's really damn solid. But on top of all that, if you draw this in a very dragged out game later down the line, you can actually spend 10 mana to summon Tarash, motherfucking Tarash. Who's Tarash? This is Tarash. Tarash is the 10 mana 10/10 with Fearsome. Each round, the first time I attack, fill your attackers with revived ephemeral copies of the strongest followers you've slain this game. So it's like harrowing on a 10/10 stick. Like, it's just insane because you can also, obviously, it's not just your own, it's your opponent's as well. So it is limited to followers, so you're not getting any champions out of it. But damn, son, like this card is just so cool. Like, it's so dope. It's so polarizing, right? Like, you got on one end, you have a 1 mana equipment, right? That's good early on, and then you have like the complete opposite here with like a 10 mana play. And I love that. I hope we get more cards like this. I really hope we get more cards that provide us flexible plays. It's just a really, really fun looking card too, right? Like it's what a 10 mana play should be. Like, you're looking to end the game at that point, right? So I love it. I love it that you don't have to main deck it and just only use it as that. Like, it's actually useful early on. It's a 10 drop that you don't mind at all drawing on in your opening hand, which is fantastic design. I really hope we get to see more like this, honestly. Like, that's just great. Malefic Spear is a 3 mana +2/+1 with Fearsome equipment that says if an ally died this round, I cost 2 less. I love these slay based equipments that essentially benefit from that. Like, this card is really nuts if you have an easy time enabling it. Like, going Ravenous Butcher into Malefic Spear is so much tempo that we've already seen a resurgence in the Slay archetype in the seasonals with Kindred Nasses, right? But there's also Thresh Nasses, which matches up better against aggro. Both variants are quite viable right now, and with this shit, they're gonna get so much better, I feel. At least it's gonna be the birth of like new variants of Shadow Isle decks, and I love that they're already implementing this sort of synergy onto the equipments, making them feel much more diverse in regards to function, and I just really, really like it. Again, every time I see this particular reveal here, I go nuts because I love all the cards in it. Like, I think they're just great, and I love ending it with Quietus because I'm gonna go on a bit of a ramble with Quietus. This card is bananas. 1 mana, slow speed spell, kill a unit with 2 or less power or destroy a unit's equipment, even without the second requirement. Like, the fact that this card has that flexibility added onto it is crazy because on its own, it's already amazing. It is a 1 mana kill a 2 unit. There's a lot of shit that you hit with this. A lot of champions that you knock out, like engine-based champions that this kills. And what's really exciting about this card is combining it with Freljord. I think this card will see play outside of Freljord-based builds. I think there's a bit of a disparity within the community. There's some people saying this card won't be main deckable, which is crazy in my mind. And there's others saying that it is absolutely broken, which I definitely I lean more towards B, the B crowd. You know, like I do think Quietus is a little bit overpowered, and I think this card is actually really. Honestly, though, we're getting so many good, like, proactive resources that it's about time we get, relatively busted removal. I don't think stuff like Disintegrate did hurt the game, personally. I think it's important for us to be able to disrupt what the opponent's doing, and I love that Shadow Isles gets this enhancement in that sense. But what I'm really excited about is to try this card out with Senna Ashe. I've showcased Senna Ashe a couple of times on the channel. I really like that champion combination because it's an unexplored way of playing Ashe, and I love using Ashe with stuff like Winter's Breath and some slow speed spell Frostbites that also are enabled by Ashe because of the fact that they have the wording of killing stuff as well, right? And I think Quietus is, in addition to that deck, which could on its own actually make it pretty damn viable. Like, I do think this card is that good. And obviously combining Quietus with not only frostbite effects, but also stuff like Troll Chant as well, any sort of power reduction makes this extremely useful. Like you can play an Icevale Archer for 2 mana, frostbite the biggest motherfucker you see, and then Quietus it, and you spend 3 mana to kill it while developing a 3/1 fearsome body. That fearsome, like that can block into fearsomes, and just a good blocker that can also push damage if there's no units, right? So it's just fantastic. Like it's just really, really neat, and I think this card is just such a great addition to Shadow Isles, and it's just very exciting. It's going to make Heimerdinger players cry for sure. You know that there's arguments running around that there's a lot of combat tricks running around, but not every deck plays them. And again, it's hard to get over 2 after you've been frostbitten as well. So I also love the art as well with the spiders. It's kind of creepy. Like it's just my jam, man. I really I actually ended up going on quite the ramble with these cards specifically, but I'm just really excited for them. And ultimately, you know, I'm also very excited for Ornn as well. But you know, my heart is a little bit with these Shadow Isles equipments. They're the winners in my book, so I kind of have to go on a bit of a rant with them. And obviously in the Gift of the Hearthblood as well, just a lot of very exciting stuff, man. Like this expansion is honestly looking really fantastic, and it's also pretty thick as well with 5 champions, right? Like I honestly don't know which one I'm gonna start off with. Like I'm pretty attracted to all of them. They're very they're very sexy. All of them very attractive, and I don't really know where to start. I think I'm just gonna end the video here. What do you guys think? Do you agree with the cards that I'm excited about? Like, what do you guys feel about the expansion so far? What do you think about the equipment mechanic? Do you think it's right now, from what I'm seeing, I'm definitely seeing it as a pretty damn solid improvement over the attach concept that Bandle City printed that didn't really receive good reception. So what do you guys think? Do you think it's actually just more of the same, or do you feel like it is its own thing? It's an important debate here because, you know, there is an argument for comparing both and thinking that they're very similar. But I do think that there's enough difference, and I am very excited just about having a new type of card. Like we haven't seen this since landmarks were introduced, right? So it's really cool, and I can't wait to try them out, especially the Shadow Isles one. So yeah, love ya. Have a solid day. Thank you guys for watching. I will be back at it with regular uploads once the expansion hits, which is going to be this incoming week. Hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys around.